Two of the best small parks out there reside about 79 miles apart. Though they are in different states and even different time zones, I chose to knock out both of these parks in one day, starting with Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville, Kentucky, and ending with Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. This is my experience at these two parks on Sunday, July 8th, 2018. We spent the day before at Six Flags St. Louis and actually bypassed Holiday World so we can start our day at Kentucky Kingdom. This was because Kentucky Kingdom closed earlier and is in the Eastern time zone. We would have a lot more time at both parks if we hit Kentucky Kingdom in the morning and then moved on to Holiday World, picking up an hour going back into the Central time zone and having more time until it closed. On a 7,000-mile trip, it was worth the 79-mile backtrack. Kentucky Kingdom is a small park with a rocky history. Formerly owned and shut down by Six Flags, only to be rescued by Ed Hart after a 4-year hiatus. The coasters added to the park since its reopening in 2014 have made it a destination for coaster enthusiasts, and I made my first trip there on this Sunday. We got to the park about 45 minutes before opening, and we were one of the first ones there. I should say we were one of the first ones at Kentucky Kingdom. The park shares a parking lot with the convention center, and I believe there was a church there, so being early in the morning on a Sunday, that side of the lot was packed. We were one of the first ones in the park and went straight for one of my top 5 bucket list coasters, Lightning Run. We were the only ones on the first train of the day, and we grabbed the back row. I was a little disappointed with this, to be honest. I thought it could break my top 20, and even though I liked it, it was not an elite coaster. We went around for another ride before moving on. If you're familiar with Kentucky Kingdom, you know that Lightning Run is right by the entrance and is the only coaster on that side of the road. The park is divided by a road, and you can cross over to the rest of the park by walking over a bridge. That bridge takes you right into the water park, Hurricane Bay, and you have to walk through it to get to the rest of the rides. This park is seen as kind of small, but it seems like you have to walk forever to get all the way to the back to Storm Chaser, and that's in the farthest corner of the park. It was pretty empty over there, so we decided to do a mini marathon on Storm Chaser. I was let down by Lightning Run, but Storm Chaser was awesome. The people who say it has strong airtime are 100% right. There are several points where you are violently ejected from your seat. I don't think there's an RMC with stronger airtime out there, and this immediately became a top 15 coaster. After 6 laps, we decided to move on to the next closest coaster, the Dinwiddie Thunder Run. This was another station wait, and I thought it was a really solid ride. Nothing great, but not a bad Woody at all. We worked our way back to the center of the park to ride the infamous T3. Once again, it was a station wait. We grabbed the back row and put down the unique restraint, which was more of a lap bar than anything, but it had shoulder straps. This eliminated the dreaded headbanging, but the rumors about the leg crushing are true. It wasn't unbearable, but the thigh crushing was pretty bad. We decided to go back to the front of the park to get pictures and to get one more ride on Lightning Run. By now, the park was filling up a little bit, so we had to wait about 20 minutes to get that third and final ride. I should mention that this park was running one train on all of their coasters, which didn't bother me much because the lines weren't all that long until afternoon, but for anyone staying a full day, I could see it being irritating. Coming back over the bridge, we decided to check out Roller Skater to see if it was worth trying to get the credit. We decided it wasn't too embarrassing, so we decided to go for it to pump up that coaster count. We then went on the Ferris wheel to get some more shots before going to the back of the park to get more shots of Storm Chaser, as well as Thunder Run and T3. On the way out, I even got some good angles of Lightning Run, and we were out of the gate by 2:15. We packed a lot into the 4 hours we were there, mainly thanks to the light crowds in the morning. Some other thoughts on this park. It was very reasonably priced. We only paid $10 to park, and through my company, I was able to get a 2-day ticket with a drink wristband for $40. We didn't get to use the second day, but those free drinks were definitely useful on a hot day. We ate at White Castle between Kentucky Kingdom and Holiday World, so I didn't eat anything at the park. We also didn't want to waste any time at the water park or on any flat rides other than the Ferris wheel. The one that stood out the most was Cyclos, a Zamperla Discovery Revolution that we skipped, but I was able to get on a clone at Fun Spot Orlando. The staff was friendly and quick, which made the operations decent despite the one-train ops. None of the rides had any stupid rules against putting loose articles on the ride platforms. Kentucky Flyer opened in 2019, so I didn't get to ride it, but I think it's a great addition to this park. I love these family wooden coasters because they're really small, but they give enough airtime to keep the teenagers and adults happy too. Here's the final count. 6 on Storm Chaser, 3 on Lightning Run, and 1 on Thunder Run, T3, and Roller Skater. The biggest disappointment of the day was Lightning Run not being as good as I thought. and the biggest surprise of the day was how great Storm Chaser was. I had Storm Chaser as a second tier coaster going in, but it blew me away. So after White Castle, we made the drive to Santa Claus and we got there around 3:30. When we left Kentucky Kingdom, it was starting to get crowded, so I was a little bit worried about Holiday World's crowds on a weekend, and the parking lot was jam-packed. Now, the last time I was at Holiday World in 2016, the roughness of the wooden coasters gave me a headache, so I popped some Advil in the parking lot to preemptively fight against the brain damage. We got in and went straight for Voyage, the monstrous Gravity Group Woody, which luckily was a station wait, and we got our first ride on this epic beast. And the Advil really came in handy because even though I felt my teeth rattling around my skull, I did not get a headache. We walked up the hill for a little bit of a smoother ride, Thunderbird, the B&M launched wing coaster. This layout is so good, it's so smooth. We rode the left side first and then went around for a ride on the right side, which worked out great because it was a station wait, and we got on twice in about 10 minutes. Hiking around the Thanksgiving area of Holiday World in the middle of the summer really makes you thankful that they offer free soda all around the park. All you have to do is grab a cup and fill it up. No wristbands or employees involved. It's still one of the coolest perks of any park because most parks see the profit margin on soft drinks and want to rake in that money. At this point, we realized that the coaster lines were pretty short and most of the people in the parking lot were in Splash and Safari, which is the water park. I was hoping this would be the case because my last visit was in May 2016 and it was the same way. Despite the lines being long early in the day, everyone gave up and hit the water park after noon. Since we got to Holiday World around 3:30, everyone had already bailed into the water park, so we didn't have to wait more than 5 minutes for anything. On the way over to the Halloween section coasters, we got another ride on Voyage, then went to my least favorite coaster in the park, the Legend. I first rode this in 2002, and I did not really like the layout, so it's always been lower on my list since I was in high school. In 2016, I rode this right after the retrack, and it still felt rough. In 2018, it took the roughness to the next level, and even though it has some good elements, there were 2 points where it jackhammered me so hard that I left the ride with a pretty bad impression. We went up the hill to the Raven, which was an absolute walk-on, and this ride was one that I had in my top 10 as recently as early 2016. It has a pretty good layout, but my 2016 rides maybe drop it down into the 30s, and now it's completely out of my top 50. It's pretty rough, but it's not too bad. After the first ride, I wanted to get one more, and after that second ride, I can definitely say it could stand to get some retracking at some point soon. We went back to the Voyage to get a couple more rides before the Advil wore off, and after 2 more rides, I decided that was enough for the Voyage. Overall, I found the Voyage to be running smoother than when I rode it 2 years earlier, but still, after 5 rides, I'd had enough. It's still one of my favorite wooden coasters with an amazing layout, and if you want to check out my pros and cons video, click the card above or check out the link below. It's getting some retracking on the second half this offseason, so hopefully in 2020 it's running better than ever. I wasn't expecting to get any new credits here, but after going into the 4th of July area and wandering into Holodog's Funtown, there wasn't much action going on at the Howler, so we decided to grab the Kiddie Coaster credit. The ride-up was trolling us a little bit and kept asking us if we had fun, so we played along, but we wanted to take our credit and get out of the area before anyone saw us. After hitting the gift shop, we were out of there by around 6:30, so ultimately we were only at the park for about 3 hours. The final coaster count was 4 on Voyage, 2 on Thunderbird, 2 on Raven, 1 on the Legend, and 1 on Howler. We didn't hit any flat rides because nothing there really stands out, although Gobbler Getaway was a lot of fun, and in 2016 we rode it a lot to escape the heat and to wait for the Voyage to open. Other impressions of the park. Parking is always free and it's not too expensive to get into the park. I got tickets for $43 a piece through my company. I didn't have any food here since we weren't there for very long, but once again, those free soda stations are amazing. My suggestion for food is to leave the park and go around the corner to Brick Oven Pizza, and for $10 you can get all-you-can-eat pizza, pasta, fried chicken, ice cream, drinks, rolls. It's really great, and I hit this place in 2016 and 2018. So back to the park. They were running 2 trains on everything except for the Raven, so I have no complaints about the ops. This park gets a new coaster once every 5 to 9 years, so I wouldn't expect them to add anything anytime soon. Maybe in 2 to 3 years at the earliest, and I think the rides they do have keep this place on the map. But in the future, they may benefit from something like Kentucky Flyer. It'll keep in line with their wooden coaster tradition and provide a family coaster experience that they don't have right now. It goes from kiddie coaster to extreme. I also wouldn't mind them giving Legend the RMC treatment. The biggest surprise was the lack of lines for the coasters, despite seeing the packed parking lot, and the fact that I was able to ride the Voyage multiple times without getting a headache, although the Advil gave me an assist there. I've never had an issue with huge crowds at this park. I have seen Raven and Thunderbird get 25+ minute waits in the morning before the crowds thin out in the afternoon. But I think it helps that I've only visited on hot and humid days in the summer. The biggest disappointment was how rough Legend was. In 2016, it wasn't all that comfortable, but it wasn't all that bad. In 2018, it was really bad in a couple spots. It was definitely a one and done. So let me know what you think of Kentucky Kingdom and Holiday World in the comments below, and the experiences you've had at these parks. I will be revisiting these parks during the weekend of Hollywood Nights, so I'll see if my opinion changes after that. And maybe after those visits, I could do a park battle between these two, because I think it would be pretty close. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and I'll see you guys all next time.